As always for joining. Today we are greeted by a really cool special guest, Jenna Zang, and she is a lady in like tech. Who has a business that is geared towards helping entrepreneurs schedule their entire lives. Okay, so we're gonna hop on. Go ahead and introduce or bring on Jenna to.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh my gosh, when technology hashtag almost fails you, but then you outsmart it and you say, let's just do this thing anyway. So
Do the damn
do the damn thing. All
thing.
right, I'm so sorry about all the noise. I don't know why my personal assistant is making so much noise in the background, but it's what you get for cheap labor, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, Jenna. So before we jump into the conversation, why don't you just go ahead and just, let the people know who are you, and then we'll hop into the convo.
Yeah, so my name is Jenna Zang, as you mentioned. I basically started a startup probably in 2019. We started designing our software and app, and basically we launched last year. And since then, been really working with small and medium businesses, so new entrepreneurs in the business, and basically helping them grow their business and learning the ins and outs of how to manage a business without making all of the same mistakes that we made, my business partner and I, when we first started our cleaning business back in the day. So
Wow.
pretty much our like short story of it.
Yeah, no, that's super neat. And I cannot wait to to dive all up into that because I think that, as a small business owner, new entrepreneur who's trying to quit every single day, like legit, every day I want to quit. It's a wrap for me.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's needed to just help people kind of get along, move along the path of entrepreneurship. Because when you don't have a grasp of like your schedule or the back office stuff, which is like so complex, like you just like, you know what, I'm done, I'm not doing this, and I'm moving on. So before we jump into that, I want to just talk a little bit about you. Like who is Jenna Zhang? Where are you from? I hear like a little bit of not an accent, but you say some words maybe a little different. So like where are you from the States originally?
No, I'm from Canada. So I was born out west in Edmonton, and then we moved to Ontario back when I was younger. So I've been in Canada my whole life. Yeah.
Wow, super, super neat. Super, super. So you're in Ontario right now. That's like what, right above New York? Is that where
Yep.
Ontario is?
Yeah,
Did I
exactly.
get it right?
You got it. Yeah, you got it.
That's
Yeah,
super dope. Yeah. So yeah, I can usually hear like the O's and the like it's
the
certain
A's.
things, the A's.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
oh, that's like a really cool accent. Okay, so you've been there your whole life. Do you have like kids, husband? Like what's
yeah. So I have one husband, one little boy. He's about a year and a half. So new-ish mom. So that's
you
been
only
really
have
fun.
one husband? Like how do you deal with just
Just one
one? Like
husband.
I need a couple. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm on the market for a new one too, just to add to the collection.
Oh, geez, sorry. And how old is you said you have one young a boy?
Yeah, yeah. So he's a year and a half. So he's very, very busy
Oh,
running around. Yeah, lots of fun. Yeah.
oh, how are you so happy with a 1.5-year old that's like walking around? Like
Yeah.
I have a son he'll be 11. Oh my gosh, I'm
Oh,
so
wow.
old. He'll be 11. I'm like halfway grandma. He'll be
Yeah.
11 years old next month. And like at a year and a half, he was cute as pie. Like that's when they could barely talk. But like he was just all over the place. I'm like, oh my gosh, stop moving. Like you seem so calm and like mellow.
Well, he is really busy, but it's so much fun at the same time. And like you said, they're so cute. So like even if they get into whatever and it's like super annoying because you have to repeat yourself like 700 times a day,
Yeah.
don't touch the cord, don't touch the outlet. And they look at you and they're like, that?
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just hey
Mhm.
Lex.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I mean, like overall, he's super cute, so he gets away with it. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so much fun.
Yeah, no, they really are fun at that age. So,
Yeah.
you started in 2019. Your son's a year and a half. Did you start when you were pregnant? Is that, am I doing math right? No, I
Just
can't do math.
before, so November of 2019, we decided to create the wireframe for the software to basically solve the problems that we were facing in our cleaning business.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it was January 2020, I became pregnant. So, yeah.
Oh, wow, nice. So talk
Yeah.
about your cleaning business some. Like,
Mhm.
do you actually clean the houses or like, yeah, let's kind of get into that just a little bit.
I've been in the trenches for sure. So we started in 2018. I was actually working for a big Globo gym. It's called Good Life here in Canada.
Okay.
And we had cleaners at the time, and our cleaners just were doing a really subpar job. And I worked in sales at the time. So my job was literally going out into the streets and bringing people into the club, like saying, hey, I have a 3-day pass. Come with me. I'm going to show you around and teach you how to work out. And they're all skeptical, right? And so
Yeah.
them into a gym where there was trash on the ground, it was dirty, it just was a really bad look. And
Yeah.
so we ended up cleaning half the time as the staff. So as a joke, me and my coworker were like, well, we could do it better kind of thing. And then he has a very entrepreneurial mind. He was like, we could actually do something like this. And then my silliness, I was like, okay, let's go do it. It'll be lucrative, right? While working like a full-time job. And,
Yeah.
you know, with just a couple $100, we bought cleaning supplies, a
Yeah.
vacuum, and we were actually storing everything in his garage at the time. And in Canada, it gets like really, really cold up where we are. So, yeah, basically, we were storing everything in his garage. We didn't realize we needed like a storage unit because everything started freezing and everything. And then, yeah.
Oh, snap. Oh, like all the like the actual like the sprays and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we started out just him and I, and so many growing pains, so many hiccups and missteps and stuff like that. And then we actually started growing a team from there. So we were cleaning for probably, I'd say like the first 6 months. Him and I were
Hmm.
like cleaning on and off, and then we were growing the team from there. And there's been times where, you know, people have called in sick or straight up quit. And so we were kind of left high and dry for certain cleans, and we had
Yeah.
to like go out and do it. It's been a while. We haven't gotten our hands dirty in a little bit, but it's been interesting for
So
sure.
like how did you was the gym like was that a client? Like did you take them on as a
Uh,
client of yours?
So we almost did. We
Oh.
almost did. We ended up working with a different company as a subcontractor. So we were bidding for different contracts and stuff like that.
Mm,
But again, we had like no skin in the game to begin with. We really didn't know what we were doing. We had no degrees in business. Like I said, I was in sales selling memberships, and I
yeah.
went to school to be a PSW, which is a personal support worker. So I did like healthcare before. My
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so my business partner was just pretty much the brains behind all this, and he's like, let's just do it. And so I just kind of followed along. I was like, okay, let's do it.
That is so neat. So how did you find like clients in the beginning? You said you went to like a bid, but it was like a third party type
Yeah.
process. But like how did or he or somebody like how did y'all even know like where to even start?
Yeah, they kind of happened by accident. Honestly, I feel like the more we were like forcing it, the less contracts were happening. We kind of fell into contracts more organically. So if it
Mm,
was talking with somebody that I hadn't seen since high school or something like that, and they're like, hey, what are you up to? And I would be talking about that. Or we were still working in the gym, there would be clients coming in, and we would just be talking about what we were doing. Oh, and they'd be like, oh, I know somebody who's looking for a cleaner right now. And just like little things here and there. So
yeah.
we were doing both residential and commercial at the time. So we really to take on anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much things just kind of fell into our laps as we began talking more about it rather than like I not necessarily not going after it, but we weren't going after the big contracts that we initially were trying to get, like the big fish in the Ottawa area, because it was such a highly competitive area.
Gotcha.
We niched down and started really, really low, and then we slowly built up our profile.
Yeah. So it sounds like y'all are really doing some things now. I mean, to be able to
Mhm.
afford to expand to a whole nother type of business, what's like your biggest clientele like right now? Like, are you able to share? Can you share what your company name is? Is that okay?
For the cleaning company?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's Johnson Zang Cleaning, and so we call it JZ Cleaning.
I love it.
People love her and I hate it. They're like, "Oh, that's so stupid," but we thought it was pretty funny because
Yeah.
my business partner, his name is Dwayne Johnson, and so Yeah.
So
It
that's
gets a
really
bit of
cool.
attention. Yeah, yeah, huge
Yeah.
exposure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the Johnson Zang. Yeah.
That's really dope. That's really, really dope. Okay, so like who are some of your, are you primarily now in commercial? Or do you still do like some residential?
We do some residential, but we don't really go into people's homes where they're living. We do biweekly cleaning or anything like that. We work with property management companies, and then
Hmm.
we work with commercial companies as well too. So these would be buildings and condominiums and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And I'm assuming that's like full time. You're no longer working at the gym. You're just,
No, no, no. Yeah. So I quit the gym. And after that, I went into the government here in Canada and I was doing that full time for a little bit. Yeah. And I finished that uh, recently, actually. So,
yeah, how long ago? So you're like all in now. You're like skin all in the game. You're full-time entrepreneur.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was on mat leave from October of 2020. And
Hmm.
so technically I was on leave with pay. And then I just decided not to go back and
Oh, that's
pursue
so cool.
StaffNet mainly,
Yeah,
the cleaning company. It's pretty self-sufficient with
yeah.
the staff that we have. We just kind of oversee some day-to-day operations.
Yeah, that's really neat. So like I've heard about I watch like a ton of podcasts. Like
Yeah, yeah.
everything comes with okay, listen to this podcast. Like that's how I start every
I'm
conversation,
the same.
right?
I'm the same.
How do you
Yeah.
guys
Where I got all my information from, facts, knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're so awesome. So I was listening to a podcast, right? And they were talking all about how, and it was a husband and wife, and they had a cleaning company. And it's crazy because it's kind of similar to your story right now because they had, really good paying jobs and then they're looking for hustles to pay off debt. And so then they started they were actually at one point working at a gym, which is funny, like together. And then they started, the husband found like that you could work as in cleaning, but without even having to clean, like just being like, I guess kind of like the broker or whatever through it.
Mhm.
So the wife was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, no. And so he presented it to her the right way. She's like, okay, well, let's try it. And they've just kind of really grown. And now, he stopped working. She's about to have a baby. It's crazy. Like as you're talking, I'm like, oh, this is so similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't clean up either. Like they just did all their workout. And so I think it's just really neat that like the cleaning industry, like who would have thought, right? Like you can really have some real success from that. And then now they're actually going towards like more of a VA process like system
Mhm.
because it's helping them in their cleaning business. So I'm like, that's just so
Uh,
crazy. It's like a similar story.
Yeah, a lot of parallels. And like we're kind of similar, like we're changing our business model slightly because here in Canada with COVID, there was so many relief benefits for people to not be working. So
Hmm.
a lot of people were opting not to go back to work necessarily because they weren't
Yeah.
comfortable. And some just really didn't want to work because they were having money like given to them to stay at home,
Right.
right?
Right.
If I was in my early 20s, I would have been all about it, right? So
Yeah.
it was really hard to find employees at times, and we actually had to turn down jobs, which is like leaving money on the
Oh,
table. I
wow.
hated
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so basically, we started finding subcontractors. So again, we were just like finding the jobs, and then we were dealing them out to subcontractors. And so we've slowly we have a hybrid. We have some employees where we kept on because we don't want to fire anybody.
Yeah.
They've been loyal, but
Yeah.
we do have a lot of subcontractors on the side. So a lot of parallels to what you were just saying for sure.
Yeah. That's like the new wave. Like, I need to get into this. I'm like your business partner. It's like, wait, I can do that. Like that's literally always like in my head. So as you're
Okay.
talking, I'm like, is he a Sagittarius because I'm a Sag? And I feel like I can do everything. Like my birthday's in December, so I'm like, I feel like I can do everything. I can do it
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah. Very similar for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about tech. Like, how did you, so you said that, you had a need. What was that need from your business that drove, you going into this tech space? Yes, Alexia, Sag ways. Okay, she's a fellow Sag. That's my friend. She's a fellow Sag. Okay, December, no, late November, baby. But yeah, we just can do all things. We're excellent.
All of the things. Yeah.
All the things.
We were
All
like
right, my
Pisces or
bad.
Aquarius.
Oh, you're an Aquarius?
Yeah.
My sister is. When's your birthday?
February
Which day?
19th.
Okay, hers is February 12th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Really cool. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for us to join the tech space, it was like it just kind of happened. It's funny how like just things happen so organically if you're not forcing it, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, in the cleaning business, I was in the back end of things. So Dwayne was more operational. He was dealing with employees and day-to-day things on job sites and stuff. And then I was doing back end things because that just came to me very naturally. Like I was doing a lot of admin work with the government and stuff. And
Yeah.
then with owning business, there's so much admin that comes into play, right? You have to do scheduling, you have to do payroll, you have to pay the taxes, inventory, following up with clients and emails. And, you know, with my full time job during the day and then working this at night, I was working close to like 12, 16 hours days. So
Yeah.
it was crazy. And there was zero balance. I was working
Yeah.
full days on weekends, just trying to catch up for the cleaning business. As soon as I caught up, it was a new week and a bunch of new things that were happening, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm
the struggle.
overwhelmed just listening to you right now. I'm just like, story
Yeah.
of my life, legit.
Oh yeah, right. Like as an entrepreneur, you just wear so many hats, and that was the issue.
Yeah.
I was just wearing so many different hats, and then, yeah, from there, I was just tracking things on so many different platforms. And you know, we were a small business. We were just getting started. We were literally sweat equity. Like we had no money coming into our pockets initially. It was just all going back into the business to
Yeah.
make sure we could always pay our employees on time because that was always my priority, and
Yeah.
then making sure that we had product and that we were kind of moving the business forward as much as possible, so doing marketing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So with tracking things on several different platforms, it was really costly. And so, you know, trying to save costs, I just said, well, what could we do ultimately to track everything on one platform? And I didn't really find one that really vibed well with me and how I wanted to do things. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were friends with these developers in Toronto, which they're about 5 hours away from us. And we were just chit chatting one day and we were just joking. And they were like, well, we could do it better for you. And so, okay, we'll explore that option a little bit. What do you mean? And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
give us like a week and we'll put together a wireframe for you. Just tell me the features that you would need to see in it.
What's
So
a
I did.
wireframe?
Wireframe, so it's just like a framework of what they could put together for you ultimately. So based on the needs that I was like wanting and the
Mm-hmm.
that I was wanting, I can say, okay, you know, I need a CRM, inventory, scheduling, and all that stuff. And so they put it all together, a little snippet of how it would look and everything. And so then they presented it to us. They said, this is how much it'll cost. And so we went over it, Dwayne and I, and we decided to do it. We were just like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this for our cleaning company. So initially,
Yeah.
we created the software and app for just our company. So
Wow.
we were just going to be using this in the back end to manage everything. And then actually, I was speaking with one of my entrepreneurial friends one day because they were asking, what's up? What's going on? We're doing this thing. We're creating software and app, going through all these different things. And they said, well, is it just for you guys? And so he was a bit confused. And so I was like, forget
He's
it.
like, how selfish. I need it.
I know. Yeah. He's like, you're like thinking in the box right now, right? And so
Yeah, for
he's
real.
like, listen, if you were struggling, how many other
Mm-hmm.
people out there are struggling too? So I thought, okay, I'm kind of like half sold on the idea. So from there, I went on LinkedIn and I just reached out to small to medium businesses and I asked them if they would be interested in a beta. I said, this is what I have to offer. It's a beta test. It's totally free. Would you mind just using my software and app and giving me feedback ultimately? And it was received really, really well because it was for
Wow.
free software and app for people. And I said, like, listen, if we do decide to market this, you're going to get a year for free ultimately. So
Wow.
there's incentive behind it for sure. But I wanted to make sure
Who
that we were
came
doing
up
it
with that? Like,
properly.
who thought, like, let me go on LinkedIn? Was that you? Like,
Yeah.
let me go on LinkedIn and find people that aren't going to think that we're a scam trying to hack their computer.
There were some of those for sure, yeah. But once you like develop the relationship, so there was a lot of relationship building as well too. So I didn't
Mm,
necessarily dive in right away with my hard pitch. It was
yeah,
kind of warming up the lead and just talking about like what I did, what they did, and then from there, once that connection was like slightly built and a bit of
yeah,
trust was there, then I said, hey, would you be interested in helping me out? So I came from the perspective of you're helping me,
yeah,
and it went a really long way. And then being able to incentivize it as well really helped out.
yeah. That's so
Yeah.
dope. So cool. Okay, so that was 2019. You get pregnant. And are you still like trying to figure it all out like during that, or is this all during that time frame? So like you're like walking around 9 months pregnant,
Yeah.
like, hey, you building software and stuff.
Well, I personally wasn't building it. So the
Oh,
developers,
oh yeah, the developers,
they're
yeah.
oh yeah, those guys are the quarterbacks for sure. So basically they worked tirelessly to create it. And it's so funny because we checked out the wireframe that they initially sent us not too long ago, and it
Hmm.
looks so different. Like so
Right.
different. And
Yeah,
so yeah, they worked from 2019 to October of 2021. And truthfully, we're still working on it every day because there's
yeah.
small little things to always improve. The more we go on, I'm like, this would be better here, or this would be more efficient. So we're constantly evolving, but it officially launched October of 2021.
That's
So
so
it was about
exciting.
2 years.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. We didn't expect it to take so long, but as we were adding on things, because we realized we did want to market it, it took a little bit longer, but it was definitely worth the wait for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Without giving a number, like an actual dollar amount, right? Because I
Yeah.
get like, again, I'm one of those people that I'm like, oh, that would be a cool idea. Let
Mhm.
me do that. And then I'm like, wait, hold on, my pockets.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
how much does something like that, I mean, cost? Without, I mean, you don't have to give like in detail, but
yeah,
what kind of investment are we even talking here? Because that's a lot, like to pay developers for several years, um,
yeah.
to get that going.
So it was about $20,000 roughly.
Wow.
And then that was the initial quote. And then we started
Wow.
adding on things. So I'd say it's close to 30
Wow.
overall. But yeah, definitely worth the investment overall because it's just saved
Wow.
us so much time and effort. And our
Yeah.
employees love it. There's no like, I guess before there was some hiccups on jobs because there was some misinformation happening. We
Hmm.
were using like free calendars at the time, and basically some of the information wouldn't be transpired properly, so then the job wouldn't be done properly, right? So there was a lot of hiccups,
Mm.
and then the clients come back to me. And it's so embarrassing as a business owner to find out that the job wasn't done properly or the client is unsatisfied and stuff. We
Yeah.
have to go back, with our tail between our legs and saying sorry, giving
Yeah.
discounts and stuff. So yeah, that stuff was just adding up, right? So this helps alleviate all of these issues ultimately.
So it was definitely an investment in your business,
Oh,
is
100.
how you look at it. Which you know what that says a lot because a lot of times people don't go into entrepreneurship. A, you go into it because it's like the mindset of a hustler, right? Like I'm just gonna hustle. And you said a lot of things that I think is so great that you guys were like, no, this is a business. You and your partner were like, no, this is a straight up business from the point of like, is it in Inception? Golly, I'm so bad with words
Oh,
sometimes.
Inception.
Is it Inception? I said it right, right?
Inception. I think from conception. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Woo.
yeah.
That it was you're functioning as a business. The plan is to grow and the plan is to let this thing stand on its own.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that entrepreneurship is sexy, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna be my own boss and I get to do what I want to do and I'm gonna make all this money, but they don't realize like the sweat equity that goes into it. Like you may not make a single dime that's yours for quite some time, and you've got to be okay with that.
Oh, totally, totally. And it's such a roller coaster. It's so unrewarding, but then so rewarding too. The highs are so high and the lowest are the lowest that you'll ever feel, right? And
Yeah.
you can feel the two emotions in the same day. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what keeps you going? Especially those nights where you were working a full-time job, and you're a new mom and, the business, like what keeps you going through all of that?
Um, well, for sure podcasts. I love podcasts, honestly. Like those keep me motivated. And so, um,
Yes.
you know, I think the motivation comes from within because I don't want to give up ultimately. Like even though there was times where we had one day where half of our staff quit because of one
Jeez.
bad seat on the team. Yeah, we had a really bad manager. We didn't realize um, what was happening in the background ultimately
Right.
because we were off working on StaffNet a little bit more. So we were a little bit more hands off. And this manager was running the show. And yeah, just shit hit the fan. And we didn't realize it until it was too late. And she took down like half our staff with her. And so within a span of 24 hours, we lost like half of our staff. And it was at that point I turned to Dwayne and I honestly wanted to sell the company. I said, I'm done.
Wow.
I like, this is too much, because it just like imploded in the span of 24 hours. I remember waking up. It was May 29th, 2021. So it was just
Just
last year.
remember it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh gosh, it was awful.
That's traumatic. I mean, for you to remember the date, like that's trauma.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I was just so upset because, and then I went back to these employees and they just said that they were so mistreated and that they felt like harassed and everything like that. And it just like, it blew my mind. And I like obviously apologized and stuff like that. They knew it didn't come from us because it was the manager, but it was a really, really bad time for the business overall. So yeah, there's been times where I definitely wanted to sell. So, it's been testing ultimately, but
Yeah.
I feel like every time we're going through a really hard spot, I always remind myself like this is a phase of growth, like this is a
Yeah.
time of growth, and you were going to rise to be better ultimately. And so having a partner in business definitely really helps, because if I was a solopreneur, I probably would have for sure caved and sold, right? And so
Yeah.
Dwayne at that point was the stronger one. And he was like, no, we're going to push through. It's going to be okay. We have this in the pipeline. We're good, And
Yeah.
so, kind of holding my hand through it. And
Yeah.
that definitely really, really helps having a partner ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah. I started my business with a partner and it didn't quite work out
Okay. Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But I will definitely say just, I was listening to this is a social proof podcast. I talk about it all the time. Like David Shands is doing something that is just really incredible. And it's such an inspiration. But, one thing that he was saying today was I was watching him on a different podcast, actually as a guest, not the interviewer. And he was saying that he's a quitter.
Mhm.
And so going from hanging out with just like his friends, like once he really started to just embrace his entrepreneur, entre him being an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
once he really started to embrace that, his actual friend circle just started to like dwindle, and he found himself in these new circles of people that would not let him quit, right? Like
Mm.
because he was just a quitter, and so even though he hadn't until kind of recently, I mean, he still doesn't really have a business partner, but he put himself in these circles that just do not allow him to quit. So, same thing, just having that an accountability partner, someone that can hold your hand through the process because it's a lot. It's so much, and it can be very, very overwhelming. So where do you see, you know, um, yourself in business in both, I guess, on the cleaning side and on the tech side? Um,
It's weird. It's kind of a weird phase right now because so definitely since that event last year where we had that issue with our staff and the manager and whatnot, I've been a little bit more hands-on in the company because I want to oversee everything and just make sure. So maybe I'm a little bit too much sometimes because I want to make sure everybody's good and not
right.
have a situation like that again. And luckily, the manager that we have right now is phenomenal. I fully trust in their ability. But yeah, so it's hard to balance because
Hmm.
I'm trying to be in two places at once, so trying to
Yeah.
prioritize both.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to kind of step back from the cleaning company a little bit more because the tech, well, it's like having a newborn. We have
Right.
this toddler over here. The cleaning company is a little bit self-sufficient, independent,
Yeah.
can play on its own.
Yeah.
With the new company StaffNet, we have to be like all hands on deck essentially. We're only a small team, and so we're just basically focusing on moving that forward. So I'm trying to prioritize doing more tech work than more
Hmm.
the service based work, and just wearing that hat on this side a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. The concept of one, right? Like there's like a
Yeah.
concept of like if you focus on that one thing,
Yeah.
you're actually going to be able to magnify it until it can solidify itself, and then you're going to find another thing from that one thing that just allows it to really grow. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
what was your biggest lesson that you learned from, May 29th, 2021?
Um, the biggest lesson that I learned, I think. that we're stronger than we think. You know,
Mm,
there was a pretty low moment, and I didn't think we'd be able to pick ourselves back up from that moment because, truthfully, we lost customers in the process too.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Like contracted commercial type stuff. Wow.
yeah, just from like one bad seed, right? And so,
Jeez.
not to say that they're a bad person. I think they were going through a hard time in their life, but it
Mm,
affected us so negatively, right? And so, the fact that we were able to come back, repair some relationships with clients, that was a good testament to our ability to be resilient and be relentless. That was probably the biggest lesson in business that I learned from that scenario.
yeah, yeah. Catch the seed, let it go, and then just keep on going. Just yeah, resilience and relentlessness. That's really, really a good one right there. I've got to hold on to that. Because it's easier, or what do you think? Do you think it's easier to quit, or do you think it's easier to kind of press on?
It's definitely easier to quit because that's just like the easier route. I think it's hard, right? Because you want to find a balance between, you want to know when something's like dead in the water and not like
Yeah.
continue to like beat a dead horse, but at the same time, I don't think we stick with it often enough. Like we have the shiny object syndrome, and I have that
Mm,
fully with the amount of things on my plate in a day, and wearing so many different hats. I want to focus on this and that and stuff like that. So being able to like focus on the one thing and be relentless at being amazing at that one thing, I think
hmm.
is definitely, it's a skill that you have to foster and you have to like grow as well. And that's really hard as a business owner, is learning to be relentless. And like with being relentless, it's trusting your gut too, which I've learned in business, especially being a female in business. My business partner, he's like 6'2". He's a big guy.
Oh,
People
wow.
know about him, and his name is Dwayne Johnson. So
Right.
naturally, people like gravitate
The
towards
Rock.
him. Hmm. So I'm like this short little girl beside him, and people look down at me, and they're kind of like, "Is this your employee?" And he defends me. He defends me. He's like, no, this is actually my business partner and stuff like that. And he's very good about it, and actually really frustrates him. He gets really angry about that stuff. But it's really in business, like having to trust your gut, because I've been second guessed so many times as a female in business
Yes,
about
yes.
my decisions. If it's whatever cleaning product I want to use, or it's a feature that I want to add here, or somebody made a mistake here, like how can we rectify that, whatever my gut feeling is towards a scenario and I'm questioned, you know, me learning to be relentless towards trusting that and honoring it has been a skill that I'm still honing. I'm still trying to get to this day, but I'm getting a lot better at it.
Why do you think you're getting better? Because I struggle with that.
Yeah.
I have, in addition to like all the stuff I have going, I also have a fairly busy career. I work in supply chain and
Okay.
currently in procurement. And so, when you're sitting around the table with these guys, right? Like I feel that same thing, right? Like they're always questioning you. Even in business, I found myself questioning myself, like, okay, am I going down the right path, or am I doing enough? Because then, clients also will question like, hey, this is what I want from you. And so then you have to balance it all out. So like, how have you just learned to just trust that gut? I know you say it, right? Like you learn to trust your gut, but like
Yeah.
how?
Yeah. So I guess it's like quieting the distractions, because there's so much
Mm,
noise all the time, right? People are
yeah,
buzzing in your ears about their opinions, their thoughts, and everything about different things. And so,
right.
quieting the noise and listening to that, like, inner small voice that we often silence. Again, easier said than done. All very, very true. But yeah, quieting the noise. So if it's like a new project that we're taking
Hmm.
on, or that I'm thinking about doing, or a different campaign for marketing and stuff, often I
Yeah.
don't necessarily pitch it to too many people right off the bat, because I want to like feel it out for myself and not get distracted by the opinions of others. Yes, those are super
Mm,
important, and it can give a lot of insight towards, different perspectives that I didn't necessarily see. But if I don't see something through on my own beforehand, I get distracted, and that's when the voice is more silenced. And so I don't really go with my gut. I'm going with your gut, which might still be
yeah.
a good bet ultimately, but it's kind of dishonoring what I was initially wanting to do, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would identify that as confidence, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you think that that has grown more, like the longer you've done this?
Yeah, yeah. So like Beyonce has Sasha Fierce as like
Yes.
yeah. So I that she got it. I can't really do that, but I kind of worked that in a little bit. So like I have like
Mm,
I don't want to say I have an altered personality, but I almost kind of like step into that. So if I'm going into a meeting with like a bunch of men and I'm the only woman, which it happens pretty often.
yeah.
I kind of like step into this bit different personality. It's like a bigger personality. I feel like I'm a bit louder. I'm a bit more confident. I'm a little bit less chill. I'm like a lot more assertive. And
Yeah.
then I feel like that goes a lot further to get my point across because again, you have to be so assertive as a woman in business because people will question you. Even other females will question you. Sometimes those are the worst because you're like we're supposed to be supporting each other. It's a very difficult road to walk and it's really lonely sometimes.
Yeah. 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 It's really lonely. And so one thing about me is I've learned that so my first career was in restaurant managing. I worked for a
Wow.
company called Waffle House. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
Yeah, so Waffle House is like you ever heard of IHOP?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not like the exact same. But it's like a breakfast place and but like they're known for just waffles. Like you go to Waffle House, you get waffles. And so that was my first career. I used to manage a few Waffle Houses like around the Metro Atlanta area. And I was really young, 21 years old, right? I did that from that age to I think I left when I was there for 3 years, like 24 and a half, something like that. And I had to, that's how I had to become was like this really like aggressive type person, very type A, just naturally. I'm West African, so I'm just naturally like, you are going to listen to me, you know? Um, the older I've gotten, I've been like, you know what? No, I'm soft. I don't like to be that assertive. I just don't. Like I like to command a room through being like a woman, right? Like I hate yelling. I don't like any of that stuff. And so I'm kind of in this place where I've got to try to find my voice still like within that. And so that's why I'm asking you all these questions. They're really just for myself.
Yeah. No. It's
It's really just for
good.
me. But and I had this situation that happened. So Nita's Cuisine, we've got sauces. It's all about, I started off with like catering and then I lost my partner and I kept doing it for just a little bit. But I'm like, this is not sustainable. Like I can't cater on my like it's like cleaning houses right by yourself with no
Yeah.
team, no help. Like it's just a lot of work. It could be decent money, but then it takes you days, right, to make that exact same check. So I was like, I can't sustain that. Rebranded in September and decided to start making like barbecue sauces. And I'm like, oh, I'll do like mac and cheese sauce. Oh, I'll do some African snacks. Like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do all these things.
Yeah.
And I've silenced all that noise and now I'm like focusing on like for right now barbecue sauce. And I've still got people saying, hey, can you cater? Hey, can you do this? And I'm like, nope, I'm focused on my sauces. I want to launch 4 this year. I'm focused on that, right? Um, well, within that, as you're starting, I had a bottle we started off with, and we start with just a generic label. And I now like I loathe that label. It's still on the product, but I can't stand this label, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just drives me crazy every time I look at it. I've got to cut it. It's just annoying. So I'm like, okay, I want a label that I found the perfect label that I want. And, even like within my team, I have an amazing team that I work with. They don't work a whole lot of hours because I can't afford all that right now. But within that, it was like, no, it's the label that I want. And then, but like we're kind of having this back and forth as to what's the right label. I'm like, no, this is the label that I want, like, period. So like I literally have like stopped a launch of a sauce that I have ready to go because I don't have the right label. And I was like proud of myself, right? I felt kind of like you like saying like, no, like
Yeah.
this is my voice. This is my gut. I'm getting that confidence as an entrepreneur. I feel like finally blocking out that noise and just saying, no, this is what my gut is telling me. I've got to run with it. So you saying that actually makes me feel really good. Like I actually really needed to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love hearing your story too, because yeah, it's hard sometimes because like when people are questioning you, the doubt creeps into your mind too.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to block that out. I feel like you have to like kind of block it like armor, right? Like people
Yeah.
do yeah, throughout the day. So yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough. Absolutely. I feel for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, what's kind of next for you on the tech side, since that's what you're focusing on? How are you planning on kind of going to market now that you've launched? Could you share maybe a little bit of what's your strategy there with us?
Yeah, so we launched and then we did like a huge marketing campaign. We did like radio ads and everything. We did a
Oh,
huge
wow.
investment and stuff like that. And it didn't really have like the fruition that I wanted.
Yeah.
So again, like things happen, just kind of like naturally fall into course. I
Hmm.
basically wanted to do more organic marketing. And so I just didn't want to spend any more money. So from
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
basically we have an SEO team that we hired, and they said one of the best ways to get traffic on your website is to do a blog, because then you're bidding
Mm.
for keywords and stuff like that. So I started down the route of blogging, and just writing as much as I can, and then doing marketing and doing like free marketing. And so since that has kind of started, I've been blogging a lot more. And
Yeah.
so working with small to medium businesses, and people have been reaching out to me, asking questions about how they can grow their business and stuff. So where StaffNet will go in terms of helping the community, I'm happy with the product that we have right now. So I think we'll just keep on enhancing the features and whatnot. But I'm just really looking forward to helping out the small to medium businesses that we have right now on our customer base ultimately. And so I'm working with a few of them, teaching them how to market for free and
Wow.
doing a lot more blogging on that. And yeah, just like overall trying to grow the business as much as possible, get the word out about StaffNet. We do have like a freebie account, which I really, really love. I'm super proud of, because I wanted to be able to give back to the entrepreneurial community in some way or form, to have like a free platform. And so that's just kind of my mission right now, is how can I market for free? How can I share the knowledge through media, through blogging and stuff like that? So that's kind of what I've been doing lately, is more of a marketing campaign. You said focus on the one thing. I've been doing this marketing campaign for a little bit and trying to work that as much as possible. And I've actually gained more customers from doing
Wow.
$0 marketing than paying close to like $10,000 for radio ads.
Jeez. Isn't that crazy though? How
Yeah.
that works? How it's like you've got, because it's all about how many people can you touch, like
Yeah.
physically, right? And how many people can get to really know you. And that's why like I do sips in this formality of just like,
Yeah.
hey, we're people.
Yeah. Totally.
Like
Totally. Yeah.
informally formal, because and just giving back that value added piece and
Yeah.
sharing the knowledge, because that's really what people are buying. I've found they're not buying the product.
No,
It's you,
it's you.
right?
Yeah.
It's you. There's this show, golly, what's it called? We We Work. I don't know if you've watched it.
No, I haven't.
So it's on Apple TV, and it's all
Okay.
about, I guess it's like an actual company, WeWork. But it's a really, really good show. I paid the $4.99 a month, and just so I can watch that.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
check
yeah, no,
it
it's
out.
really, really good. Annie Hathaway is in there.
Okay.
But the guy that owns WeWork, I forget his name, Adam something, but like he no longer owns the company, but because he was crazy, like this crazy guy, right? But he was like, no, people aren't buying, like we're not growing because of the product. It's me. Like I'm the
Mm.
star of this show, which is a little bit arrogant to it, but essentially is what we're selling ourselves, right? And our hearts, I think every single day. So I definitely can kind of see you going into, as you're talking, I'm like, you know, as a small business owner myself, just a lot of consulting, right? Because
Yeah.
people don't know where to start. Um, yeah, sorry, Lex is like, yeah, 100. Because people don't know where to start. They don't know, um, they just know they have an idea and they don't know all the back end stuff that goes behind it. And so,
Yeah.
it's cool that this tool is really allowing you to impact, like you said, your community of entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah, and that was never the intent, but it's just kind of gone down this path, and it's
Yeah.
so rewarding. And so that's why I want to err on the side of tech more so now, because it's, like I said, it's more rewarding. My day-to-day conversations with these businesses and saying thank you for your help, or it's just being able to touch so many people in such like a great way to be able to see like them gaining more customers or more traction in their business.
Yeah.
It fills my cup, right? And so that's
Yeah.
not an area that I ever imagined myself in, or tech, not even to begin with. But it's one of the reasons why I couldn't even go back to work either, because I was thinking about my 8 hours a day sitting at a desk doing X, Y, and Z, like
Whew.
doing briefing notes for a director and stuff like that. And it literally sounded like a prison sentence. And then I had this like amazing job that I could curate over here, and it's turning into my dream job. I was like,
Yeah.
of course I want to do that, right? So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in the pandemic, it was so beautiful because they were at home, and
Hmm.
you saw Etsy blew up and like online shopping is blown up and everything, and people
Yeah.
found a job within their hobby, within their passion. They started all
Hmm.
of these side businesses, but a lot of them kind of have left their full-time jobs, or
Yeah.
they've made the leap and stuff like that. And so
Yep.
it's such a great time for entrepreneurs to be able to grow and thrive. And so to be able to be a part of that and help
Yeah.
lift people up, yeah, it's just like, it makes my day, honestly.
Yeah, which is it's just really dope. Because the entrepreneurial phase is definitely here.
Mhm.
Funny enough, one of my passions and one of my friends, yeah, finding balance, as says Alexia, finding the balance. So Alexia is she was on a SIPS. I don't have I aired it? I think I started doing something a little bit different. So I think she's actually on my page. But she's an event planner.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so she's like big time, okay? She's on like Facebook and she's doing weddings every other day.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's just phenomenal heart person, and she did start off doing things for free and like, oh wait, I can get paid for that, right? I think that's kind of how we all kind of start, like, oh wait, I can get paid for my skills, I can get paid for my talents, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. One thing that I will say that I do that I do get concerned about is everyone jumping into entrepreneurship,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? And not understanding that you have to have the heart for it. And then also, to be quite frank, like we also need people to work the businesses. Um,
We need workers. Don't all become entrepreneurs. Yeah.
yeah, so it's been like, it's like I'm over here, like I preach entrepreneurship and like get your own, like find your own thing, like make money off of what you love. And then at the same time, I'm like, wait a minute, but while you're doing that, like I need you to come over here and like work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. We have like a virtual assistant. I was like, please don't ever leave me. Don't ever go on your own. Like, I need you. Don't do your own thing. Like, I need you to stay, please.
Like no, like legit, like yeah, VAs are so important. And so
Mhm.
one thing that I do I've started doing through SIPs is we have SIPs Elevated, and within that, my partner in that, Rama, and we go to schools and we actually um are teaching children how to be great, I don't say employees, but how to maximize their opportunities right in the workforce. And so resume building, interview skills,
Wow.
yeah, that kind of stuff is what we've really kind of just started honing in on, because not everyone is necessarily going to be an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
but they can definitely learn from the entrepreneurs. So
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my gosh, we're like wrapping up on time here. I didn't look. I just looked up. I'm not gonna keep you for forever. So, one thing that I love to ask is for a piece of advice, right? Like, because these conversations are so full, they're so filling, and for that reason, so I used to share them only on my Instagram, but I'm like, golly, like we're talking about such great stuff. I want like everyone to hear. So now I'm like creating a platform on like Apple Podcast and Spotify and all these different places, and YouTube. And so yeah, yeah, your face is gonna be everywhere.
I like it. I like
is
it.
is the goal. Yeah, I'm just really excited about that. But the one thing that I like to ask everyone for is the one piece of advice that you would give anyone, like regardless, just a life lesson, right? Like what's your greatest takeaway of life? If you couldn't say anything but like one thing, not one word, but it's like one phrase, one thing. Like, what is that for you?
Um, you'll only really truly find happiness through service.
Ooh,
Yeah, I think we often try to serve ourselves, which, like, absolutely, you have to make money and put food on the table and you have to do self-care and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think your highest level of happiness can only be reached by helping serve others, and filling your cup that way. That's what I've experienced, at least personally.
geez, your highest level of service is by. You have to say that again. 'Cause I need to. I wish I had a pen and paper. I've got to write this down.
Yeah, so to reach your highest level of like elevation and like just enlightenment in your life, I think is through service and doing acts for others, be it family, whatever, a favor. But I think helping others through service, and giving back ultimately, lifts them up, but it lifts you up too. So it's very
Yeah.
self-serving in a way as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Serve others and it helps to serve you. Oh, I love that. That is so well said. That is going to shirt, by the way. Okay. You've
All
got to put
yours. It's
that.
all yours.
Oh, I get to use that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you get to use it. It's all yours.
Well, thank you like 1,000%
Thank
for your
you.
time. You have just been so delightful to have on, and I wish you nothing but like greatness and definitely gonna, big you out in my stories and whenever this podcast comes out. So anyone that has watched, hey, y'all are getting the backstory, the VIP treatment right now. But yeah, there's all these hearts like floating. So you have, oh my gosh, you've been just so great. Such a great chat and just great to really meet you. And I look forward to just continuing, our a digital online friendship. Yeah, great stuff,
Yeah,
sis. Just chatting.
absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And it was so nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. Well, enjoy is it night? Yeah, your East Coast time. So it's nighttime. It's 9
It's
o'clock.
nighttime. Yeah, it's officially dark now.
It's
Yeah.
officially dark. Enjoy
Yeah,
your
yeah.
evening, enjoy your baby, and we will
Thank you.
chat another time.
Yes, take care. Bye
All right,
bye.
bye.